Let's go. We back, y'all. Oh, I'm back. I'm so used to having a co-host or somebody else on the show with me, but that's gonna take some time to get adjusted. I'm Jamal, one half of the professional amateurs, as I was just alluding to, and this is the Brotherhood breakdown. I'm back, fourth episode. I'm excited, man. I'm recording this on October the 12th. Actually, I would have brought this episode a little bit earlier, but October the 12th, my birthday was October 11th, just celebrating my 42nd birthday. And I won't go record this weekend, y'all. It was all about my birthday, my family, my friends, and I just took time off from content creating and trying to like just do anything internet related and just focus on family. But I'm here excited, like I said, October 12th, a couple of days. First preseason game is 21st, October 21st against UCF. First time we get to see our beloved Blue Devils go up against anybody other than our beloved Blue Devils. Which, I mean, look, bro, feed me the scrimmages. Like I don't care. I don't care if y'all playing pickup on campus. Like somebody record it and put it on the internet so I can see it if I ain't there. I want to see this team play anytime, anywhere. I don't care what it is. I can't get enough Duke basketball footage, but I would absolutely love. I'm ready to see them play against other teams because that's the actual measuring stick. The real measuring stick, we all know, is going to be the Tennessee game, the first measuring stick. Actually, I'm not going to blow UCF off like that. I might do a little deep dive. I haven't done a deep dive about UCF just to kind of see what they got, just to know what I'm getting myself into, because not that UCF is a mid-major or nothing, but I don't know about y'all. I got PTSD. Like, I remember 14 and Mercer. That was Mercer in 14, right? We had Mercer, we had VCU, we had Eastern Michigan. I remember that. What was that, 95? Somewhere around there, 95, 96, right? That was a long time ago. Earl Boykins. I remember some of these mid-majors. So I kind of got into the habit of like watching the lower teams when they come on ESPN or whatever, just so I can get a feel, because you never know who Duke is going to play in the tournament. So I don't want to get blindsided by one of these mid-majors that's got two pros that I never seen just because they play in a conference that nobody really cares about. You know what I mean? So I try to focus on some of the less teams when I watch college basketball. Well, maybe I'll take a deep dive in UCF, but forgetting them today, yo. As y'all can see, shout out to my Rams. I'm recording this on the Super Bowl Sunday. I got my Rams gear on. I am a huge Rams fan, since I ain't got one of my kids behind me. I'm not neglecting y'all though. I do love y'all. Want to give y'all some love today, but never mind that. We here to talk about the Blue Devils. Coming into the season, I talked about how excited I was about the roster and how they could potentially stack up to next year, and how I felt like they would be better than next year or last year. I apologize. How I felt like they could be better than the roster last year, but I want to kind of like give a disclaimer with that. When I say I feel like this team could be better, I mean ultimately winning that championship. I don't want none of y'all thinking that this team is gonna go 39-1 or 40-0. Honestly, this team probably have more losses than last year's team. I just want that to register in some of y'all. Like, just because this up and down the roster, we have all the pieces we need to win the national championship. We got a coach we believe in. We got a superstar. We got bench guys. We got guys that can play defense, multiple positions, guard up, guard down. We got all of that. We might lose 6 or 7 games, y'all. I want that to register to some of y'all that's not gonna be a fail. If 6-7 is a lot, it is a lot, but it could happen. Like realistically, our schedule is we are. Yeah, we don't got to look at like our realistic. Like, we're gonna break this. We're gonna be real fans, y'all. Like realistic guys about this, about the schedule and who we could lose to, who I think we actually gonna like lose to, and all of that. But I'll do that later. But that schedule is brutal, y'all. Y'all seen it? Brutal. Like, I've never in my life. Like, I get what John was trying to do, and the ACC was so weak last year, and in a way, we're not gonna admit it, but it kind of hurt us, bro. It kind of hurt us being as dominant as we were. Like, it was fun to see it, but even though I felt like Duke didn't go unchallenged, like Duke went 19-1 ACC. I don't think they went unchallenged. The Notre Dame game was tough. The Clemson game we lost was tough. The NC State game at home was tough. We had to fight to win that one. We had to fight somewhat in the last Wake Forest game, and it turned out it ended up being a blowout. I mean, like Duke had like tests, but I don't think like even though they had some of the games that were like closely contested, like if you watch this, if you see some of the scores, a lot of those games were closer than what the scores indicated, and you just had to watch them to know that. Like you just had to be like a real fan and just to know that. But even though some of those contests were like closer than what like maybe they should have been. I don't think Duke ever felt threatened in most. At least me as a fan. I don't know how y'all feel, but as a fan, I did not feel threatened like at all by none of those teams. Wake Forest, I felt like could have like. I honestly, before the season started, I predicted we would lose one game to Wake Forest, and I'm glad we didn't. I hate Wake Forest, and I shouldn't even hate Wake Forest because it's like irrelevant. But the whole Cal Filipowski thing is just whatever. But a couple of those games, like they were close, but I never felt like we'd be threatened. But that's not gonna be the case this season, y'all. We're gonna get threatened. There's some quality teams. I'm trying in conference. Forget non-conference. Forget that brutal schedule we got non-conference because that's tough too. There's some quality teams in conference. Louisville's gonna be better. NC State's gonna be better. They got a guy to contend in Darian Williams that can contend for ACC Player of the Year. UNC is gonna be better. I don't think they're gonna be upper echelon. They're gonna be better than they were last year. They should be. Knowing Hubert, they probably won't be. Let's hope they won't be because it's fun to pick on them. I mean, it's just gonna be better. Like Virginia Tech is gonna be better. Virginia is not gonna be as bad. It's just so I just want Duke fans to like understand that because this team could potentially be better in winning the last two games in April. That's what it really means. I don't want y'all to get down on this team when stuff go wrong. Stuff might go wrong this season, y'all, in the regular season. I mean, we just gotta understand we are focused on a bigger picture being there in Indy in April. I don't even know what the date says. First weekend in April. We want to be in Indianapolis. And if we're there, that's all that matters. It's not gonna matter if we lose 4 ACC games, which I don't want to lose 4 ACC games, but I like just say if it happens, it's not going. I like a prime example. I remember in 2015 when I think they lost 2 straight games. One at NC State. I know they lost to NC State on the road. One of the games they lost to Miami was a blowout, and I think that was their second straight game. I should have probably looked that up. I didn't even realize I was going to bring them up, but I'm just going off memory. I know it was a time in the season when they lost 2 straight games, and one of them was to Miami, and one of them was a blowout. And it was like, man, stuff like that. Like an eventual national champion got smacked. They got smacked multiple times. NC State them, Miami smacked them, Notre Dame smacked them. Notre Dame didn't. Yeah, kind of close. Yeah, I mean, but I'm just saying, like they like the times that they lost, it looked like like at least every game this Duke team lost last year. That was the most frustrating part to me. That's the part that I'm gonna die with. Like, bro, this team could have been like 41-0 or whatever, however many games they ended up playing. Every game they could have or actually should have won that game. It literally came down to like the last few seconds and a mistake here or there in like the last few minutes of the game. Like that 2015 team, that those losses was like they are not national championship caliber. Like, and it just looked like that. Like Ja had problem guarding space. I kind of alluded to that when I talked about him. Quinn was undersized. He was a dog, but it was just like that team was a little shaky defensively to start the season. And then they got it together. Like they would have dominant defensive stretches, and that's what ultimately wrapped it up. But like this team that's coming up this year, 25-26, they have all the pieces to be elite. We talked about that, so I think they're going to be better. But it's going to take a lot, man. And we all know how good Cameron Boozer is. We all know how good Isaiah Evans is, or like electric Isaiah Evans is. It remains to be seen how good he's actually going to be as a player. As electric as a scorer, a microwave guy, he's as good as it gets. But literally, we need an elevation from Isaiah in order for Duke to reach the pinnacle. Isaiah can't just be a microwave guy. He has to be that, but we need a little bit more, not too much more. So what we're gonna do? I got something for y'all. Okay, I did some homework. Not really. I ain't doing homework because this is stuff that I had. I'm gonna bring this up, but I just wanted to give a visual just so we would talk about. I get my projected starting five. The main thing I want to focus on right now is not a projected starting five. Because I think this is kind of consensus. Most Duke fans, like we're speculating. Everybody can't wait until the UCF game to see who Shire actually rolls out with to start the game. But my projected starting five: Caleb Foster, Isaiah Evans, Dami Sar, Dami Sar at the three, Cameron Boozer, Patrick Gumba. A lot of people think that's gonna be the starting five. I'm watching a lot of Duke shows, and that's what a lot of people are picking. I don't disagree with that. I gave a different like five what I would do in previous episodes, but like what I because I would start Caden Boozer, honestly. I would start Caden Boozer. I would have Caden, Isaiah, Dame Sar, um, and Cam and Pat. I was just thinking against Caleb. Some stuff I heard at Caleb. I'm bring this up real quick. Really quick. Caleb Foster. I'm not gonna lie. The more I listen to him talk, the more I'm excited about what he's gonna bring to the table. He said something in the ACC media day, which I'm assuming I don't think they even made it official. I haven't like heard anything, but Coach had Malik and Caleb there representing the team, and that's usually an indication of who the captains are. Like he usually sends which of course they're the upperclassmen. It makes sense. But what he said was he wanted to focus on being a disrupt on defense, picking the ball up 94 feet. Pretty much everything he said described him playing like Sion James. And then it clicked like he wants to go to the NBA. Of course, everybody does. It clicked to me that it clicked to him that he doesn't have to light the world on fire. Like everything Caleb Foster talked about in those ACC interviews at ACC Media Day kind of hinted that, hey y'all, I want this, but I'm gonna do all the dirty work. Like listen, bro. I don't know if Sion got in his ear. Thank you, Sion, if you did, because it sounded like Caleb Foster is gearing himself to be a replica of what Sion James was last season. So I kind of want to. I got y'all can see I have the lineups or the projected lineups and the projected reserves. I kind of want to get an idea of the role for the guy. So we kind of go down like Caleb Foster. What Caleb Foster said, what we need from Caleb Foster is to like actually be exactly what Sion did, or be exactly what Sion was. Elite defender from the point of attack, guy that can disrupt, pick up 94 feet. A guy that can defend up if needed when we get into switching situations, because I was kind of paying attention. I know John is not gonna throw everything out there, but main thing I want to see is how this team is gonna guard pick and roll. That's everything. Basketball is all about pick and roll and how you can defend it. And if you can't defend it, you are cooked. You better have a scheme. You better have a real scheme to be able to defend the pick and roll. So I I really want to see what they do in countdown. They did a lot of switching 1 through 4. Pat wasn't in a deep drop. I would like to see Pat play at the level a little bit more. And to those of y'all that don't know what the level, I don't want to get like too basketball technical. I want this to be as like simple for Duke fans as possible. Like when somebody sets a screen, if Pat's man setting the screen, I want Pat to be right at the level of the man where the screen is being set is. That's where like instead of okay, he's setting the screen, let me drop back a little bit and guard down off the screen, or like no fine drop is fine, but it requires a different level of focus on the rotation end with drop, especially if you're playing elite teams and with an elite guard on a drop. Because if you have an elite guard, like especially that can shoot off the dribble, they're gonna eat the drop up. That's why I don't really like drop too much. But they were dropping Pat some. It wasn't deep drops, which is I'm cool with. I would like to see him play at the level, like I said, but everything else got switched, bro. And that was one of the things I wanted to watch for. I wanted to see if they were gonna be able to switch. When Malik plays, we know I'm assuming they're gonna switch 1 through 5. They didn't play Malik. I mean, Malik is not like a part of the roster yet. Coach said something interesting. They haven't even seen Malik. This team doesn't even know what they're gonna be with Malik, which I don't know if that's a good thing or a bad thing because we got a lot of young guys that's like trying to get like caught up on how we do things and the way the system is ran and reading react is hard, y'all. For those out that don't play basketball, John Shai got these guys literally playing fast as possible on the fly. All your decisions need to be made on the fly, which he's recruiting high IQ guys. So we'll see how that goes. But we haven't even seen what the team is gonna be like with Malik. And I'm assuming when Malik gets there, we're gonna switch everything, kind of like how we did last year when Malik played. It was 1 through 5 and it was over for you. Whatever you ran, it didn't matter. Because if he was a guard, he wasn't gonna run around Malik. You didn't get an advantage. You may get an advantage. I believe Pat is a little bit more fleeted foot than everybody knows and everybody gives him credit for. I would like to see him in some switching schemes based off of who we guarding or who we are playing against, but we'll see that. That's a matchup dependent type thing. But with Malik, you're not getting around him as a guard, bro. So I know we have that. I want to kind of look at the roles that Caleb is going to play or that everybody's going to play. So with Caleb, I expect off on a tangent, and I will do that. Which if y'all fans of PA, you know that, and you will get to know like me somewhere. I will go off on a tangent. I think I got ADHD. I'm pretty sure I got it. I've never been diagnosed. That's why I do stuff like play with my hat and all that. Two of my kids have been diagnosed, and I know that they didn't get it from the stork. So you know what I mean? I do stuff like that, but I'm gonna reel it back in, y'all. I promise y'all I got y'all. So Isaiah Evans, what I expect from him or what he should do. Microwave guy, like I said, but what I said I need to see a little bit more is with Isaiah being a microwave guy, Isaiah is what we call a high gravity player. Isaiah is one of those guys that when he's on the floor, everybody's focusing on him in the defense, like whether he's on ball, off ball. So what I would like to see Isaiah Evans do more of is become a secondary playmaker. He doesn't have to be a primary guy like that's breaking the ball up and calling the plays and like, no, I need to see Isaiah come off a curl and the defense knows because they scouted well that he's coming off the curl to catch the ball ready to shoot. They converge on him. He makes a quick decision to swing out of that double team. The quick right decision. Like every single time, I need to see him become a secondary playmaker, like to a level that I can be comfortable with because I know that I to counteract what the defense is doing to counter him. You always got to have a counter, man. Teams get really good at scouting, especially as the season goes. Isaiah has plenty of film, even though he didn't play a lot. The book is out on Isaiah. So he's going to get blitzed. If Isaiah runs a ball screen, I'm pretty sure they're going to blitz that ball screen. Almost every single time. If he has the ball in an on ball situation, and this is one of the things I'm going to be watching for when we play UCF. If Isaiah gets the ball, and because I've heard Coach talk, he's going to let him handle a little bit to show what he got, which he can. Like I said, I watched him at North Meck. If we get North Meck, Isaiah, we cutting them nets. We're cutting them. But once Isaiah gets the ball, I want to see if the defense, if he gets the ball and tries to run the screen roll, if they blitz that ball screen and pretty much double team him to try to force him to make a bad decision because his decision making is still in question on this level. You got to prove it, bro. You got to prove that you can do these things at every level that you get to. Like, who cares what you did? Like the level before. I need to see if you can make plays out of a double team right now. So that's one of the things I want to see from Isaiah, not just to be that microwave scorer, the spot up shooter, floor spacer, but a guy that can be a secondary playmaker. Now, Dame Sarr, anything Dame Sarr, I kind of brought that up like a little bit in the last episode. Anything Dame Sarr does on offense, honestly, will be icing on the cake because what I need to see from Dame Sarr, not just me, what I think his role needs to be and what his role probably will be is the ultimate disruptor. Literally the lockdown defender on this roster. I think Dame Sarr has tools. Duke is in a lucky position that I think they could arguably have when it's all said and done because Dame remains to be seen what Dame is going to be. But I think by the end of the season, Duke could arguably have the best wing defender in Dame Sarr and the best wing / post defender in Malik Brown. Those two will be a cheat code on defense. Absolute cheat code. So what Dame Sar brings from a length and athleticism standpoint, like I brought him up with in relation to Justice Winslow. But this is the key for Dame Sar. And this is why Justice Winslow ended up getting Dame Sar is going to have to hit that spot up jumper with consistency. And he's gonna have to not turn the basketball over because Dame Sar is one of those guys that as athletic he is, he's gonna be able to get the ball on like defensive rebound. It's automatic fast break for him. That's when he can be point forward. But in order to be point forward, you're gonna have to make smart decisions at the point part. Like you're gonna have to get the ball off the rim, push it up court, make a smart pass in transition, make a smart decision whether to attack, bring it out. Like it's levels to that point forward thing. Just because everybody has the ability physically doesn't mean they have the ability to actually do it and excel at it. So will he be able to do that? Because if Dame can knock down his spot ups, be able to play point forward like consistently with smart decisions being made, sky's the limit for this Duke roster. Now Cam Boozer, really don't want to focus on him too much because I kind of devoted pretty much a whole episode to him. But Cam Boozer pretty much needs to be the man. I don't really want Cam focusing on it's really hard. I mean, if anybody can do it, this like organization, this is not really organization. I don't really know what to call it. Like this program can do it. That's what it is. Like follow up greatness. Shire followed up K. Following up Cooper Flag is gonna be rough, bro. It's as good as Cameron Boozer is. It's really unfair to have to follow that level of greatness because I think Cam Boozer is a player of the year candidate and very capable of being it. I think Cam Boozer is a number one pick candidate and very capable of being it. I think Cam Boozer is a first team All American candidate, very capable of being it. With all of that being said, none of that might happen. He might not be player of the year. He might not be first team All American. He probably won't be the first overall pick unless Duke wins the national championship because winning kind of has to. You know what? It didn't change the narrative for Ja with Cat. So none of that might happen, y'all. Let's just go ahead and prepare ourselves for Cameron Boozer not to reach none of the accolades, the heights that Cooper reached. Like he won't reach that more than likely. Let's just try to tell. I know I'm gonna jump off like the roof fan with, yeah, he gonna be better. And I have full confidence in Cam Boozer. I just really want to be kind of realistic with it and understanding that what we just saw from Cooper is rare, y'all. That's not gonna just roll year after year after year just because you get the number one guy. We had a lot of number one guys that didn't do what Cooper just did. You know what I'm saying? We got another number one guy that if he doesn't do what Cooper just did, it's fine. But we do need for him to be the guy that we can go to. More importantly, not the guy that we can go to get a bucket, just like any bucket, a guaranteed bucket. Which this is the biggest thing about this Duke team. This is the one thing that I love, which I'm gonna get to Pat after this because he fits into this. This team has two guys that are elite in the post that we can just throw the ball to when things get stale. If we had one guy that we could just throw the ball to in the post when things got stale last year, that collapse does not get completed within the Houston game, and we probably going to beat Florida. That remains to be seen if we're going to beat Florida or not. But what don't remain to be seen for me, which is I'm like, whatever, bro. I'll take this to my grave. If we had one guy that we could have thrown that ball to in the post during that down the stretch of the Houston game, we win it. But this year we have two of those guys, which I'm really excited about. So I sip my water. Um, Cameron Boozer, like I said, be one of those guys that we can get the ball to, just like a go-to scorer. Be the elite rebounder. And defensively, I don't think he's gonna be as elite as Cooper, but be a positive, not just a guy that just gets by. Like borderline elite. I need to see borderline elite defense out of Cameron Boozer, which he's capable. So, excuse me. Now, as far as Patrick Gamba, okay, elite offensively. I got that. Cool. Do what you can do on offense. It kind of seems like, especially watching Cameron or the countdown to craziness at Cameron. The team he was on was kind of like force feeding him. Like it's kind of. I'm not sure if John has like put the emphasis on. All right, y'all. This year we're gonna get the ball to the big fella. Last year we kind of like used the big fella as a screen setter, rim runner. Like, no, this year we're gonna actually feed the big fella. Okay, cool. Do what you got to do because Pat's elite offensively. That's gonna work out fine if that's the plan. What I really need to see from Patrick Gamba is A, stay out of foul trouble. B, be able to effectively protect the paint in the same fashion that Kaman Malawach did. Not the intimidation way, because he's not going to be as intimidating as I've said, but be able to change shots, clean up the glass. I believe that as good as as good as Kaman Malawach was, and as like scary he was not an elite rebounder, and he should have been. I need Patrick to finish that end of it. Be the elite rebounder, especially on the defensive end. I want him being at the top of the ACC as far as defensive rebound goes. I don't really know what the number is going to be. If it's 4 defensive rebounds a game, 6, whatever it is, I don't care. I want Patrick Gama to be at the top of it. That's what we really need from him. That and the ability to protect the paint on the defensive end, because he brings the size element that Malik Brown doesn't. When Malik Brown comes in for him, the team reaches a different level defensively. But I want that team to reach the same level defensively with Patrick Gamba there. I'm not sure if that'll happen. That's one of the biggest questions. So that's the role for him. Now, as far as the reserves guys, Caden Boozer. No, okay. I'm gonna do this a little bit differently with the reserves. Because what I want to know from the reserve guys is, which I bring this off so it can we got it. What I really want to know from the reserve guys is which one of these guys plays the biggest role, because for every team with a Bobby Hurley and Christian Laettner, there's a Thomas Hill. For every team with Tyus Jones and Jaleel Okafor, there's an Emil Jefferson. For every team with a John Shire, Nolan Smith, Kyle Singler, there is a Lance Thomas. Like, which one of these guys plays the biggest role for this specific team? Last year, arguably, you could argue either Malik or Sion. I guess it really just depends on how you viewed it. But Sion, I have a different question for what the role with Sion played. I really want to know which one of these reserve guys could be the biggest, or could have the biggest role. Like, is it a Caden Boozer? Because Caden Boozer could be the role Caden Boozer could play, could be like an elite table setter, which it sounds really like whatever. You're a pure point guard, and you cannot underestimate the importance of being able to get a team in offense quickly, because we're playing with a shorter shot clock than most of us, than definitely what I grew up in. To get a team into their offense quickly, to get people into the spots they need to be, to get the ball where it needs to go on time and on target. That is people blow that off, especially because the NBA is kind of going away from that, like the traditional point guard role. And the only reason they're doing it is because they have elite playmakers on other levels of the floor. Like most of the NBA teams, their elite playmakers are like the small forwards, usually, or the center in Denver's play. And like a team like Denver. That's why it don't matter what Jamal Murray does. Best pass on the team is 15. You know what I'm saying? So, which pretty much would be like that with this team, other than the fact that we actually do have a guy that is the best passer, playmaker, table setter on this team. He just happens to be a reserve right now. He's the one guy who I feel like that could be a reserve, and he's the most likely candidate. I'll say that, of the Duke reserves who could come and just shake stuff up. The Duke reserves who you look at is like, all right, they're not gonna start November the 4th. Is it November? Whenever we play Texas, they're not gonna be the starter first time, like first game of the season, but guys like Caden Boozer, guys like Nick Kaminya. Honestly, bro, everybody, y'all, I said this last episode. Y'all keep putting Sebastian Wilkins in that 10th man rotation. Sebastian Wilkins is going to play. I don't know who is getting pushed out of the rotation. And that's the big thing for this Duke roster is I think that we have 10. I'm gonna bring it up one more time just so I can get the visuals. We got 10 capable guys. Let's be realistic about this, y'all. 10-man rotations do not work. Okay, Duke fans? They just rarely work. I honestly, I don't even. It probably take too long. I might have to do some real research. Maybe I should have did that. Probably. Whatever. It was my birthday weekend, y'all. Y'all, I was over the top. But 10-man rosters. I mean, 10-man rotations rarely work, bro. You gotta be able to chop that down usually to 8 at the most. Honestly, is what I think. But how do you do that? Because Caden Boozer is definitely gonna play. He's gonna get real row minutes, 25 minutes a night. Malik Brown, we know is real row guy. Darren Harris, I just talked about last episode as being special. We got 3 guys, so that's 8 guys right there that I'm assuming is gonna get real rotation minutes. But the 2 guys that I named before, when I was like guys that can shake this up, in Nick Kaminia and Sebastian Wilkins, those guys have got to play, bro. Nick Kaminia's got to get on the floor, like a guy that's 6'8". This is a prototypical NBA 3-and-D guy. Him and Sebastian Wilkins. 6'7", 6'8" ish. Long. Nick Kaminia has special playmaking ability. Ball handling ability is not elite, but Nick Kaminia could be a secondary point guard. He's that good at like playmaking, and his feel for the game is that good. I would have no problem with Nick Kaminia being a backup point guard. Like if John like wanted to do that, I'm cool with it. I have no problem with that. But Sebastian Wilkins is a guy that honestly, okay, let's say like a guy like Dame Sarr. What he brings on the table, well, I mean, what he brings to the table, Sebastian Wilkins brings to the table. But I feel like honestly, Sebastian Wilkins could possibly be a better shooter. So if Dame Sarr is not knocking that jumper down at a consistent rate, I could see a guy like Sebastian Wilkins, even though everybody think he's gonna be the 10th man, which is okay. I got him listed in order on like not in like order how I think how the minutes is gonna go. I got him up here as like the 10th guy on my list. I don't think he's the 10th guy in this rotation. Yeah, he is. Let's be honest. But I think because he is the 10th guy in this rotation, I don't think that just excludes him from like minutes. I think that he's going to be one of the guys that shake something up. Like he's going to be one of the guys that gets minutes. Like I said, I could 100% see Sebastian Wilkins being what Sion James was to Caleb Foster last year. I can see Sebastian Wilkins replacing either obviously Dame Sarr, but I could see Dame Sarr and Isaiah Evans both getting replaced by Darren Harris and Sebastian Wilkins easily. Easily. And honestly, I don't envy John Shire at all. That's one of the hardest things to do as a coach. I coached in high school as an assistant. Um, I coach like realistically, that's the highest level I got to as an assistant. I've like done some head coaching at lower levels, but that's the hardest thing to do, bro, is to narrow down your rotation when you have that much talent. And I don't envy John. I don't envy John at all. Like, but it is one of those good problems to have. It's absolutely one of those good problems to have. I just don't know what we're gonna do with outside of the 8 because I'm sure Caden's playing. I'm sure Malik's playing. I'm sure Darren Harris is playing. I'm sure all of those guys are getting at least, let's say, 15 minutes. At least. I don't know though. I just maybe it won't all. It's not that many minutes, bro. I'm bad at math, y'all. So some of y'all in the comments, y'all jump down and let me know, like, how do the minutes break down? I'm looking at it now, and I'm just like, yeah. What do you do? What do you do? I guess you kind of look at one of them things like you go to who's cooking. It's like okay in the instance of like the wings, Evans, Sarr, even Caleb Foster for that matter. if they have off shooting nights, I think we have like legitimate backups for them. The real problem, like I said, in the rotation is the 4 and the 5, because I think realistically we are rotating 3 guys for 2 positions. Like I know we could go small ball, have Dame play small ball for. Even Nick Amenia probably can play. Nick Amenia could play small ball for. I don't know if y'all realize this. He guarded Cameron Boozer in the scrimmage and kind of guarded him well. Like, you're not gonna really shut them down. I mean, it's not they weren't doing too much as far as like running sets but I was like, wow, they got Nick guarding Cam, like, and Cam is huge, bro. Cam like 250. Nick actually held his own, so I can see Nick playing some small ball 4. So, um, question to Duke fans, question of the week: which one of the reserves on this team do you see playing the Sion James role, taking a spot from a guy that's a perceived starter? Because I think that we got 2 guys on this roster that's gonna end up starters. I think Darren Harris will end up a starter, and I think Nick Camilla will end up a starter. I Darren Harris, I'm almost sure of it that eventually he's gonna end up a starter. Nick Camilla is my hot take wild card guy, but Nick Camilla is too good, man, with the basketball in his hand. Not even just the shooting, because I know that's what he's recruited for. But it's kind of like how I looked at Khan. Like I started watching Khan last year, like a lot of footage on him, and I remember like everybody just being so fascinated with how good of a shooter he was. But every time I watched him, the shooting is not what like jumped off the screen at me. What jumped off the screen at me was his ability to like play make. I called him like baby Luca. I like literally was telling my man Courtney this like months, like way before teams even got on campus. Like he kind of remind me of Luca. I know it sounds wild, but like chubby a little bit, but can move, but can pass the rock and can like I don't know, man. Like Nick Amin's playmaking kind of reminds me of that. Like his playmaking is elite. People throw that word out. Me, I'm people. I'm people. I throw the elite word out a little bit too loosely, but his playmaking is just right there, bro. It's right there. So I and hit the question with him and Darren, which will prevent either one of them from being the reserves that ultimately become starters, is the defensive end. That's the questions, y'all. Like that's what I really can't wait to see. I can't wait to see. Slim is a lot better defensively than I think people realize. He became really good last year. Not even on ball. I'm like off ball, he became almost elite. Like I focused on watching him off ball. I'm like, man, wow. Once we got to like ACC tournament time, Slim was like a really good defender. So I'm confident that he'll be able to do what he needs to do. Darren Harris, I have a question about defensively, bro. That's gonna change everything for him. Is what he can do on that defensive end. Nick Amenia, I just he has the tools, but it remains to be seen. So I have a question about. So that's the only thing that could stop him from getting there is the defensive end. But I mean, we got guys, y'all. We got guys. So whatever problems that Duke runs into this year, other than attrition, like injuries, especially in the front court, I think we'll have an answer for. I think we're pretty good, and we have multiple answers for wings. We have different playmaking options. It's not just as clear cut as it needs to be Caleb or Caden. So I'm really excited, but I want to know how deep the roster, like the rotation goes, and how deep does it really need to be? Honestly, like how deep does a rotation? Like I said 8 usually. I remember in 15 that was their thing. 8 is enough. Like they kept saying that 8 was enough, but 8 was a necessity. Like coach was talking about that 8 is enough. Like he purposely chopped the rotation down to 8 guys. Like, nah, man, it just got real weird. You know, Suleiman got kicked off the team, and it's just, I don't know. He should have played Grayson a little bit more though. Grayson started playing towards the end of the year, but all right, that's it, man. I ain't gonna talk y'all head off 40 minutes, man. I kind of went 40 minutes. So thank y'all for still watching. If you are still watching at this point, man, I want to implore everybody to follow the socials, the Brotherhood Breakdown on which you'll see it once the outro comes on TikTok, and the same for Instagram. Brotherhood Breakdown on TikTok. The discourse on the TikTok page is very interesting. I will say that. And I plan on, I'm not sure if I'll do it for the Central Florida game. But I plan on going live on TikTok and kind of doing a simultaneous TikTok live recording thing just so I can interact with the people, and a little bit easier because it's kind of hard. I'm like the social media guy for everything. I'm like literally a one gun army running everything. And I got a whole family, y'all. I ain't got time to be doing all of this. And it's really fun and I love interacting with y'all, but it's like time consuming. So I do want to be able to live, like interact with fans live and stuff like that, just to get a feel of how, everybody. I want to see how y'all feeling when if y'all feeling the same way y'all feeling. Cause like I said, that's one of the reasons I started the show. Just to get my feels out there, bro. Like a therapy session, y'all. We might need to have a therapy session together. We're gonna all do it together, man. We're gonna come to Brotherhood, extends to the fans and all of that. So, once again, thank everybody for locking in. I will be coming probably in about a week or so, honestly, because I got a lot of stuff to do for professional amateurs. We got to get those episodes out, and y'all make sure y'all follow the professional amateurs movement too. Pro and Pod on TikTok. Professional Amateurs Podcast on Instagram. Y'all can check that out. We're gonna be doing a college basketball episode too. That's why I said I got a lot. We got a lot of content we got to get out for that. So next Brotherhood Breakdown episode will probably be in about a week or so. But thank everybody one more time for locking in with me. I'll catch y'all next time. Let's go do.